Hello everybody, I can determine the coordinates of a point on the unit circle using cosine of theta comma sine theta. So if you remember from when we initially spoke about the unit circle, any point on the unit circle, x comma y, is cosine of theta comma sine theta, and you really just need that and to combine it with what we did in the previous lesson. So if theta equals 30, and I want to know the coordinates of the point where it passes through the unit circle, I know that any point on the unit circle is cosine of theta comma sine theta. So it's cosine of 30 comma sine of 30. This is what we did in our previous lesson. This is our QSFR lesson. So we need our sine, cosine, tangent, 30, 45, 60. In this case, since it's in quadrant 1, there is no QSFR to do. It's just literally match it up on the table. 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, 3, 1, 3, over 2, over 2, over 2, over 2, over 2, over 3, radical, 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 radical. Cosine of 30 is radical 3 over 2. Sine of 30 is 1/2. There's no QSFR to do because we're in quadrant 1. So if it's not in quadrant 1, we're just doing what we did in the previous lesson, in the QSFR lesson, twice. So let's do one like that. Let's do one that incorporates radians. So let's go number 4. If I see radians, I don't want radians. So to make it into degrees, I multiply by 180 over pi. I have 5 times 180 over 30. Use your calculator if you need to. That is 300. So I sketch my angle, 0, 90, 180, 270, 360. 300 is here. Reference angle is 60. All students take calculus. So I know that I'm doing cosine of 300 comma sine of 300 because any point on the unit circle is cosine of theta comma sine theta. So I'm just doing cosine 300 sine 300. Let's start with cosine 300. Q, S, F, R. We are in quadrant 4. I'm doing cosine. Cosine is positive in that quadrant. Reference angle is 60. So I have positive cosine of 60. Sine of 300. Q, S, F, R. I have sine now. Sine is negative in that quadrant. Reference angle still 60. So I need cosine of 60. I need negative sine of 60. We can I can pull up the table I had in the previous slide, but I'm not going to. Positive cosine of 60 is positive 1/2. Negative sine of 60 is negative radical 3 over 2. And again, that's coming from here, which is built off of the QSFR lesson, which we did previously, so you really can't do this without that lesson. That's it. Let's just take a quick look at something like number 11. It says that the point negative radical 2 is a point on the unit circle. Well, I know that this is cosine of theta, and this is sine theta. So cosine of what is radical 2 over 2? Sine of what is radical 2 over 2? Use the table if you need to. 45. Sine of 45 is radical 2 over 2, and same with cosine. So I know that my reference angle must be 45. So that means that this must be 45. 0, 90, 180, 270, 360. So this is 180 plus 45, which is 225. The answers are in radians, so to convert that to radians, I multiply by pi over 180. I reduce 225 over 180. And I get 5 pi over 4. And that's it. Any point on the unit circle is cosine theta comma sine theta. So the first coordinate is cosine theta. The second coordinate is sine theta. If it gives you a point, you need to figure out what theta is. And if they give you the angle, you just do cosine of that angle comma sine of that angle. And if it's not in quadrant 1, you need to do your QSFR procedure. That's it. Practice. Goodbye.